and welcome back to another review. And today we're revisiting an old friend of ours which has come back, and I am super excited to have a look at it. I was browsing MSY's website last night and I found that our friends at Shaw have released a new line of cases. This one appropriately being titled Micro Hero. But let's ignore that for now. This case is $45 from MSY, of course. Anyways, let's have a look at the box. The box has a picture, which is pretty much the one that you see on MSY's website as it is. And the reason why I got it is because of the way it looks. Tech specs: support mini ITX and micro ATX, good because I'll be putting an MATX board in it. USB 3 front panel, okay. Acrylic window side panel, now that is something we're looking at. Mounting for 2 hard drives and SSD. Front 320mm fans included and a rear 120mm fan included. Now for $45, you're probably wondering, 4 fans for $45? That's something like Corsair would do, or, you know, Thermaltake. Nope. Our friends at Shaw are doing this for us. Back in the days when we used to laugh at the Shaw Tornado and Shaw Shark and everything coming with 80mm fans and power supplies that would explode on impact, well, yeah. On the side of the case we have a barcode, Micro Hero, some sticker things, Shaw Micro Hero, color black, quantity 1 in case they've shoved 3 inside of the box, which I very much doubt it, unless it's a really tiny case and they've given me 3, but that's just ridiculous, isn't it? Case size 345 by 185 by 395mm, so that's pretty small. I'm pretty sure that's smaller than the Deep Cool Smarter LED case. And to give the consumer a very nice satisfying taste, you can have this little piece of information written here that this is covered under consumer law, so if it does explode on you, you can take it back to MSY and tell them. The fans could catch on fire, I'm just saying. Same thing around the side of the box, nothing else, and it's pretty empty. Let's go ahead and crack this bad boy open and see what we're getting for $45. 2 styrofoam packaging pieces here, keeping the case in place from damages in transport. So let's go ahead and take it out of the box. Alrighty. Let's take off these. Yeah, it's a tiny case. It's tiny. Alright everybody, the Shaw has been unboxed, and man, it's maybe taken them, how many years? 12 years to maybe get something right. Well done. Alright. So now that the plastic has been taken off, holy moly, this is actually looking really, really good. Right, so this is a very elegant looking case, I must admit, so far. I can see into the innards and I'm very excited to continue with this. So we have a full acrylic side window, not tempered glass, just acrylic of course, because it's $45. Very nice profile. The front is exactly the same as well, with 4 screws holding in the panel, which we'll take off in a second. The side panel is a nice finished texture to it. Very, very nice actually. Doesn't feel cheap. The rear has your PSU mount, 4 expansion slots, the 120mm fan mount, and where your IO shield would be. Now it's made in China. Thank you. And we have some accessories down here, which include some standoffs, which are gold, and it comes with some Velcro ties as well, so that's pretty cool. And at the top of the case here, if we pull this off, we'll see that this case comes with power button, reset button, hard drive activity, and power LED. They're the usual. 2 USB 2 ports and 1 USB 3 port. Not sure if that's going to be an internal header or a pass-through one. There's also a cutout for an SD card reader and a micro SD card reader. I'm not sure if they're actually there or not. No, so these aren't included. The micro SD card reader is not included, which is a bit of a downfall. I thought it was. The top dust filter is magnetic, so you can just rip it off like that, clean it, and then stick it right back on. And as you can see, there is 2 mounts for 2 120mm fans as well. On the bottom, there is 4 plastic feet, which they're not going to be the best, but they will do. There's also a dust filter, which is removable, kind of. There's also some holes to mount a hard drive. Right, so the acrylic window is removed, and it doesn't hook onto anything. It doesn't sit on any latches or anything like that. So you're kind of stuck with, when you're screwing that on, it's going to fall off. But once again, for a cheap case, it's not that bad. they're doing something right at least. Just taking the side panel off so we can get a better look inside of the interior. So as you can see right through the interior, there is a number of cutouts. There is just a ridiculous amount. There is a huge CPU cutout, plenty of places to route your cables through. It is really, really good. Now I want to showcase the fans that are in this showcase. Now surely they can't be that bad. Pun. The fans have flame stickers on them. I think Shaw's pulling a bit of a joke here, aren't they? I think they are. You have 3 120mm fans installed at the front of the case. It is absolutely amazing. The rear one is also the same as well, and it's got this sort of noise dampening material here as well, which, okay. At the bottom of the case here, we have a PSU shroud cover with a little appropriate gap to show your power supply specs or wattage, whatever. That is really, really good to be included on this. For a budget case, extremely, extremely good. Also at the top here, we have the places to mount 2 120s here. So you can mount 2 120s, the 3 already included at the front, 1 at the back, and you can also put 2 up here. But judging by the space, you probably won't be able to put a radiator in there unless you put a single 120 here, but I don't think it's going to fit in that regards. But you have the bottom and the front to be able to put a radiator. So this area has about 40mm of clearance to be able to fit a front mounted radiator. So you, theoretically speaking, you should be able to put a 360mm rad in here with no problems whatsoever. And here's the open cutout to put your power supply into and a space to put a 3.5-inch hard drive. There's plenty of cable tie downs for all your cable management purposes and stuff like that. Plenty of holes as well. You can also mount 2 SSDs right here as well. And it's reasonably, it has a bit of flex to it, but I would say it's quite solidly built, which is amazing. Power supply clearance should be not an issue at all, considering the amount of room here. And if you're not planning to put a hard drive here, you could practically put the biggest power supply you can find on the market and still have plenty of room. And just a point of reference as well, you can just see the power supply's ventilation bracket and the little nubs that it will sit on. They don't have rubber pieces on them, but you can just put some adhesive or whatever on them and that will be good to go. There's not much clearance between this and the motherboard tray, and the side panel for this side is completely flat. So I'm not sure how cable management would go. You can alternatively just route them up here and just put them through here, which would probably work a lot better. The front panel once again is held on just by some thumb screws, which once taking them out allows you to get access to the complete set of 3 120mm fans, and they actually have a sort of a ridge in. It's got a ridge sort of design in the fan blades, which would probably help airflow, and you can see there they have the little dampeners on there to produce vibration, which is extremely, extremely good for this case at this price point. And you can also see where you would be able to fine tune putting your radiators wherever you want to have them situated. If you want a 240 just there, or move it down in the middle. There's this nice design on the back of the front acrylic piece, which once the fans are all powered on, you'll be able to see straight through them, which should provide a really, really nice effect. And you can pretty much show everybody you've got a gaming PC and you've only paid $45 for a short case, which is pretty nice. Another side note as well is that the cables are extremely long. I would say they're about ½ meter long, maybe a little bit more. So when I eventually do the build, it's going to be a little bit tough to try and manage all of these, but I should possibly find a way. We'll get around that. Now, due to the fact that we can't find any specs online or anything, because Shure is an unknown brand to us all, that we've all grown to love, we have to just sort of figure out for ourselves. Now, I would say it would fit any graphics card on the market. Let's give it a go. I would say you can probably fit graphics cards of up to 300mm. Maybe a little bit more if you're not planning to use a front rad, but if you are using a front rad, probably about 290 just to be on the safe side. There's also, I would say, plenty of clearance for any CPU coolers. So if you've got a Hyper 212 Plus, I don't even know those anymore because I use water coolers. If you've got any of them, they should be quite fine to fit in here. Well, as you can see, that's not held on properly, so that little expansion piece will just fall off at any given time if you were to unscrew it. But then you'll get access to your expansion slots to install your graphics cards, etc, etc. And also, just a quick note, all of the fans are Molex connectors, so they will run at full speed. There's no PWM controlling these or anything like that, so straight out Molex. This thing will probably run really loud, but who knows. Already, I'm super pleased with this case for being a Shure case. Considering what they used to make and where they're at now, amazing, absolutely amazing. However, it's not complete yet until we put a build in. I'm going to put a build into this, and we're going to see what the final looks are. I'm really hoping it's going to stand out with these blue LED fans. With all the cable tie downs as well, there should be not an issue with cable management as well. I'll try and fill up most of the spaces as well with hard drives and fans, because I've got plenty of them laying around, so I may as well just fill it up with fans like I did with the Armageddon. But considering this to the Armageddon case that I recently reviewed, this is a big step, and it's only $10 more, so I don't know why you would go with the Decatron when you can get this one and it looks better. But let me put a build into it, we'll go from there. Now, before fully assembling this build, I've run into a little bit of a problem. If you're planning to put a 360mm radiator here, the IO is going to get in the way, unfortunately. You could probably bend the cables back a little bit, sort of thing, but I don't think it's going to work. You're probably only going to be able to put a 240mm at the front. And as for graphics clearance, you can put two 120mm fans, but you can't put a radiator there if you're planning to put a graphics card, as the radiator is going to take that much space and then that much space again, so you're not going to have, like, I can't even fit my fingers under there. And yes, I couldn't put that on properly because I should have put these in first before I installed everything else, so that's my fault. And now it's time to power on the system. It's fully assembled, so let's see what it looks like. Okay, after running into a little bit of a technical difficulty, we're now going to power the system on. Here we go. Whoa! That looks extremely cool. So this is the finished product. It looks absolutely amazing. It's a nice, clean case, which is not what I expected from Shure. And there are the front three 120mm fans, and you can see they each have little LEDs around them to give them a very, very nice appearance. I'm actually really surprised with this case. Now, when I was building this, I was thinking, how exactly is air going to get inside of the case? Now, there's actually a small gap in between this acrylic piece and the front acrylic piece to allow air to actually go into the case. So that will actually be quite beneficial. It's not that much, and also you can see that it does slightly bend. That's sort of the next problem that I'm facing, is that the panels, although they look really cool, they are really sort of flimsy. So if you tighten these too much, I have a feeling that they may crack and ruin the whole appearance of the computer, which would be a bit of a downside. Now, there's no rubber mounts underneath it for any scratches, because there's plenty of scratches already gathering from me unscrewing and screwing them back on. Another issue, once again, is the radiator. How stupid is it though? You could try and fit a 360 in, but I don't think you're going to be able to fit a 360mm radiator in here now. If you're using a mini ITX board and you put a graphics card up just a little bit further, you may be able to put a 240mm rad there, but you probably won't be able to do one here. There's just not enough clearance, so I think your safe bet is a 240 at the front, maybe a 120 at the back if you want to, or you could just experiment around with it. I had no problems building this system. Building took about 45 minutes, which was about average. I was able to fit two hard drives, so two 3.5 inch and two 2.5 inch SSDs, and they were all able to be mounted in there. Cable management was fine, and I was able to route plenty of cables behind the motherboard tray, although I had to be a little bit creative, but it did work quite well. And the side panel, you kind of have to force it on. Once it's on and you've screwed it all in, then it is quite good. Now for $45, this case is quite impressive. To me, it kind of looks like a Corsair 460X RGB case, just with the whole sort of front acrylic and side acrylic panels. With that being said though, there are some drawbacks of course. Being a Shure case, it's not going to be perfect. I kind of hoped that it would be perfect. Unfortunately, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than the Armageddon Decatron that I reviewed recently. This one is a lot more better. I would recommend this to anyone who just wants to build something nice and cheap, nice and compact, and to be able to fit some high-end components. You'll be able to fit all your graphics cards in there. There are options for water cooling available, just a bit limited. Magnetic dust filter at the top, 2 USB ports. It is feature packed for what it is. And to think about all those years ago, we were laughing at Shure going, they are the most terrible things on the planet, with exploding power supplies and infamous cases that just crumble when you touch them. They're now presenting these cases, which is the Micro Hero case, which it's a very poor name, but I gotta give credit to them somehow. And just also recap, when building, there was no sharp bits or anything sticking out, which was a really, really good thing. On past Shure cases, we all know that they are just terrible, absolutely terrible, whereas this one did not have any sharpened corners or anything. The SSDs also mount on the side, and they slot into place, so then you can just screw them in. They don't just sort of hang there and you have to hold it and screw it in. It actually hooks onto something. I'm not too sure what it is, but it's like a little clip. So that made its SSD installation very simple. Both 3.5-inch drives are mounted at the bottom, and there's plenty of room for cable management, as I've said. Once again, super impressed with this case. Completely off the walls for sure. Definitely not a Shure case that we all would have thought would have came out. I just want to thank everybody for watching this video, and you can sort of hear the fans. That's because the bottom fans aren't mounted properly, but I will mount them. Thank you for watching. I hope you really appreciated this video, and hopefully I've put a lot of effort into this one and sound a little bit more enthusiastic than the last video. But if you want to pick this up today, go to your local MSY store and get this for $45 if you feel that this is a good option for a little compact cube or little compact case that fits everything. I'm quite impressed. I'm honestly quite impressed. Next up, I'll be having a look at some other Shure cases from their new lineup, which is a few micro ATX cases and some full ATX cases, which will be quite interesting, and they all have very different looks to them. I look forward to reviewing those very soon. As for now, thank you very much for watching once again, and I will catch you next time.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, feel free to leave a like or a dislike if you didn't. Comment below if you would like to see more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.